The Baltimore School of Massage had once been one of the most prestigious institutes to teach massage therapy in the world. A certification from here would make you desirable to any sports, medicine, clinic, or other massage-related business anywhere in the world, just about. Hundreds of massage therapists, physical therapists, and sports doctors graduated from here every cycle. The Shovanti, though, had no such concept. Their closest word meant sensual touching, and with a name like that, they reasoned, the place had to be a whorehouse. And they did their best to make it so. Across the street, Uncle Bill stood on the roof of a liquor store, hands in pocket, as he watched a figure. This dark, grey-clad individual sat behind a rooftop AC unit as he assembled a rifle. It had been 18 months since Uncle Bill and Tom had been arrested for the death of Baroness Goetia Stamantios. Technically, they should have still been in prison, but Uncle Bill had seen fit to bust out en route to Brockbridge Prison and leave a trail of dead, injured, or just highly embarrassed Shovanti behind while he looked for Tom. "I don't know who you are," Uncle Bill said, as the figure positioned the rifle, "but I know what they did to you." "You don't know the half of it," the man said, as he took aim. "Wind is..." He lit his finger and held it up, pretty slow. Uncle Bill waited for the figure to finish up. "Damn it, not here tonight. Guess you can fill in some holes then." Honestly, all these secret operations with this guy reminded Uncle Bill of something that had happened when he was still CIA. Shortly before the fall of the Soviet Union, he'd been investigating a supposed USSR black site in Siberia. Rumours flew around about advanced weaponry and super soldiers, but Uncle Bill always thought that it was a little silly. Science didn't make super soldiers, life did. As he followed the operator back downstairs to the basement, he watched the man take off his mask. Uncle Bill regarded the burned, scarred face in front of him. When he opened his mouth to speak, Uncle Bill could see tombstone-shaped chunks of metal. Life had dumped on this guy. "You want to hear the story? The rest of it?" he rasped, as he disassembled his rifle. 18 months earlier, I sat in the back of the prison transport in the aftermath of the Baroness's death. And there it was. The final thump as the dropship landed, the hatch opened. The guard stood up and walked me out. There wasn't much to check in. I was stripped and my few items put in a box. I could tell the guards were leering as the, thankfully male, doctor examined me. I was finally walked out to the prefab medical wing, into the prefab cell areas, and roughly walked through the hall into a cell. It must have been a Shovanti prison. Everything was purple. "Hey," a bald, tattooed man said, as he did sit-ups while hanging from the side of the bed. "What's your name?" I just stared at him. Suppose I had no reason not to trust him. "Tom." "Jeff, good to meet you." "Same. Though the circumstances could have been better." "So what are you in for?" he asked next time his head came down. I didn't say anything. I was still mentally reviewing what had gone down. "You can trust me," he said next time he came down. "We've all done something to hurt the Shovanti. It's what they say." I guess he wasn't going to let up. "I killed the Baroness." I don't know what happened, but he fell from the bed frame, landing on his face. "And I thought we were all political prisoners," he said, when he got up. And from that, I was guessing he didn't do much. I was busting for something I might have done had they given me time. Ah, yes. I wasn't paying too much attention. I had too many sheets to set up. Before the shill, I was at DARPA working on railguns for the Navy. I zoned out after this, but he was using all sorts of metallurgical words. "In short," he said, "we never figured out how to stop the barrels melting." "And they busted you for that?" "Apparently they made me a danger." My cellmate got back up on the bed frame and started the sit-ups again. Those bitches. I sat down and set my own stuff up. Let's see. I've seen this in movies a bunch of times. I started sharpening my toothbrush. "I bet the guards have already paid off the other prisoners. We're gonna have to fight for our lives." "Dude, you're kinda scaring me." My cellmate, number A2406, stopped his sit-ups. "Dude, I killed the Baroness. That's a little different from something I might do." I continued sharpening as an alarm went off. Everyone who's seen Midnight Express, or Oz, or Prison Break, or Orange is the New Black knew what that meant. We all fired out of our cells and into the hall. And what do you know, it was robot hands. I gave her what I hoped was a grin that said, "I'm coming for you." That wasn't just a creepy grin. Robot hands just shuddered and continued with the count. Once the guards were done, we all filed down to the cafeteria. It was lunchtime. So remember I said the prison was a bunch of prefab buildings? That meant I got a chance to see where we were. It looked like we were near the Pontomac River. If the road in the distance was the one I thought it was, then we were in Howard County. Then we got to the cafeteria building. I don't know what I expected, but this was just about it, to be honest. Tables, kitchen, food. Also, a bunch of guys were staring at me. "Yo, Jeff." I cautiously got my food and sat down. Sure enough, the eyes followed me. I cautiously took a bite. "Why are they staring?" Jeff took a bite. "A bunch of the prisoners do favors for the guards, in exchange for certain leniencies. A bunch were walking over. I swear I could see the guards smirking as they walked out." "Oh yeah?" "Yeah." Jeff got under the table. "I'd say you're in danger." His voice was muffled. "Any help?" I picked up my tray. "Sorry man, I'm not a fighter, and I hate to get on their bad side." "Of course." I slammed my tray into the first guy's nose, then swung it down on his head. Unfortunately, his two buddies held me down on the table. I fought and struggled as the fourth guy filled a cup with hot water and tossed something in. Things didn't seem good. One guy held a piece of broken glass to my neck, and the prisoner with the cup tossed its contents all over me. Nobody seemed to notice my screams, as the burning paste stuck to me. The prisoner with the cup refilled his paste. Another guy held my mouth open as he poured more of the paste down my throat. My screams turned to choked whimpers before I blacked out. Back in the present, Uncle Bill ate something from a can. "Turns out the guard had paid off the prisoners," the man said, as he finished cleaning the rifle. "So the guys did a napalm attack. Did you know it's possible to make napalm in prison? Well, they call it napalm, and it's the same basic idea. A burning paste that just sticks to you." Uncle Bill nodded. He had heard about that before. Hell, he'd used it. "So how did you wind up getting the teeth?" This mysterious canned good wasn't half bad. That's another story. The mysterious operator opened his own canned food. A few months later, we have a Shulvanti doctor to thank for that. Gave me my new voice. Uncle Bill was starting to suspect who this was. As the months passed, I knew I was in danger. I also knew what I had to do. In order to not get my face melted again, I had to become the baddest of the bad motherfuckers. After lights out, I punched the walls till my knuckles bled night after night. I got ripped. Jeff helped me here. He knew all sorts of decent exercises. I was dangerous already. I killed the Baroness and Count Shulvanti after all, but prison was a constant onslaught. I'm pretty sure the guards had paid off half the population. I got a lot of practice. Pretty sure I would end up leaving a permanent dent in the guy's skull. But when the guards join in, that's a whole nother something. I was on my work detail at the time, mopping the floor when the guards accosted me. "What do you want?" I sighed, as I mopped the floor. "Mr. Spot." One of the guards smeared her big dirty boots across my nice clean floor. I sighed and mopped it up. Out of the corner of my eye I could see a bunch of prisoners with shivs filing up both sides of the hall. And what are they doing? The guys were crowding us. I'd become quite good at detecting when I was in danger. To put it shortly, my spidey sense was tingling. This wasn't good. I snapped the wooden mop over my knee and jabbed the pointy end at a long-haired guy with a whip. Really just a shoelace with razor blades embedded in it. He put his hand up to block the spear, only to cry bloody murder as it went through his hand. I grabbed him by the mop he called a hairdo and threw him into the wall. Only, like a million guys left. Oh well. I swung with the other end of the mop, nailing a guy in the face with the mop head. I pitted him. The cleaning fluid made my skin blister whenever it splattered, and he just had it smeared in his face. That didn't matter though. The guards had snapped on their shock sticks and joined the fray. The first one I dealt with, I picked up my mop bucket and threw it at her, splattering her shit all over her. She gave herself a nasty shock, but her body slammed the stick into my stomach. I fell over, twitching, and was unable to defend myself as the other inmates kicked the shit out of me. After what felt like an eternity, the guards dragged me out of the circle. That wasn't the end of it, though. The guards flipped me over and held my mouth open, positioning my teeth against the steps to the second floor of the cell block. One 300-pound stomp, and I was done. The first thing I always saw whenever I was dragged into the prison hospital unconscious, grievously injured, whatever, was a little purple face, staring down at me concerned. At first I thought the tiny purple doctor was another species. After all, the woman was so huge, so why wouldn't the man be? Turned out, though, he was a Shorvanti male. He was the one constant, him and a lot of pain. That was extra abundant this time. My jaw hurt so bad I couldn't think. I gingerly felt my face. It felt like well done D-grade steak, tough and scarred. "You've got to stop doing this," Dr. Mortis said softly as he got me a mirror. "These fights are destroying your body." "Can't say I disagree," I tried to say. It sounded more like groaning. I know, it's self-defense," the little guy said, "but..." He passed me a mirror. I took the mirror and I can't say I recognized the face staring back. One eye was painted red from burst blood vessels and still oozed. My face was covered in scars and bruises and a few burns left over from the napalm, and my jaw felt weird, clunky and just wrong. I opened my mouth and just about dropped the mirror. "Most of your teeth were gone," Dr. Mortis said softly, "and your lower jaw was just about destroyed. If I'd had a proper operating room, I would have replaced your jaw in a heartbeat." He sighed and took a seat. "As it was, I just had to repair the damage best I could, lest your new steel teeth make you look scary as the Sea of Souls. Should do you some good around here." I finally got the strength to rasp out a few words. "Thanks, Doc." It was a raspy growl.